Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. I'm back with another NBA topic. I will be discussing the best dunker in NBA history, according to me. Now, to be the best dunker of all time, in my opinion, you have to have participated in NBA Slam Dunk competition because in-game dunks we know are different than contest dunks. Contest dunks it requires more creativity, in some respects a little bit more hang time, a little bit more bravery because in-game dunks are, either whether if it's on fast break, you can put out the creativity, but it's a different perspective and there's a different level of expectations. So this is the only prerequisite I only have for being the greatest dunker of all time. And I believe the best dunker in NBA history wasn't the best player of all time. In fact, he wasn't, he actually played at the same college as the greatest player people consider the greatest player of all time. And this player was Vince Carter. So he had crazy dunks in college, which a lot of great dunkers don't have great dunks in college. I mean, you can probably say a Zion Williamson, but like I said, he never participated in the NBA Slam Dunk competition yet. Hopefully he will one day. But he has to get healthier and stuff like that. But in college, I remember Vince Carter having an alley-oop windmill dunk, and he had these crazy dunks in college. So you can see his skill set even in college. In college, they more, they tame your game a little bit, so you don't really see the full potential of the player because it's more team oriented, it's more controlled, it's more like it's just more tamed for some reason. A player can average 14 points in college and then get to the NBA and average 30 points, and you be like, where did that come from? But it's just the game is played. It's 8 less minutes. It's more team oriented. Like I said, the coaches are different. So, but the best dunker in NBA history wore Toronto's Raptor jersey, especially in that 2000 NBA Slam Dunk competition, which was the first Slam Dunk competition I ever watched. Now, this one we know was legendary. But he was a good basketball player too, not just a great dunker. He put up 50 points in playoff game. He got his teams pretty far for what they were supposed to do. They pretty much overachieved in the playoffs, especially playing for the Raptors back then. They didn't get far. They have a championship now, but back then they didn't sniff a championship. But before Vince, you had the MJs, the Dominic Wilkins, the Spud Webbs, and a bunch of other dunkers that, Harold Miners and Larry Nance's, the dad, not the son, and they had all these great dunkers, but Vince Carter took the style and creativity to the next level, especially in the 2000 dunk competition when he put the arm in the rim. Now that arm in the rim dunk is a classic dunk. I remember NBA Live, I want to say one of the lives had it where you can dunk. I think it was live, NBA Live 2005. You can actually put the arm in the rim, which, that was just crazy to think somebody would have that creativity. The dunk competition now lacks that creativity, but Vince Carter definitely had that. And he definitely had hang time. He probably had a 45-inch or so vertical leap. And he was at 6'6", so that was just crazy to think about. He probably can hit his head on the backboard, but he had an insane leaping ability. He had the Nike Shocks back in the day that was everyone wanted just because you think you could dunk like Vince Carter. We couldn't. But he had such crazy athleticism. And I think that was the best dunk performance ever in the dunk competition. Now, I don't think I know that was the best. People coming after him, it pretty much was like Blake Griffin after. People were just jumping over cars or jumping over people, 7-footers, but it wasn't the same. Especially when you go back to the Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, which was a great dunk competition, but it was mostly jumping over stuff and pretty much the same dunks and different variations. But it didn't have Vince Carter arm in the rim or the 360 windmill that he put up. That was crazy insane. And my second best dunker of all time wasn't even Michael Jordan. It's Jason Richardson. His ability to jump off 2 feet and windmill dunk and between the legs off of 2 feet, which is very difficult to do. You have to jump exceptionally high when you're dumping off 2 feet. You get more strength, but you don't get necessarily more vertical jump. But he was able to do that in a unique way, and his dunking style was crazy. He had two great dunk competitions as well, but Vince Carter's one, nobody can match that one great dunk competition. And an insane dunk that he had also as well. I remember when we used to have dial up, watching the highlights of him jumping over the 7-footer in the Olympics, which was crazy dunk that nobody expected on the fast break. And like I said, he just showed his athleticism, and he was a great jump shooter, and he played close to, I believe, over 20 years in the league. So he was very durable as well. But him as a dunker, nobody else can see him as a dunker. The dunk that he did against Alonzo Mourning, where it looked like he cocked back all the way to the 3-point line, that was crazy too. So he had all these great dunks and insane athletic ability. But what separated him was his creativity, I believe. Because one of my favorite dunkers of all time was Spud Webb, who was only about 5'6". But he was able to do crazy things at his height as well. So if he was probably like at least 6 foot, he would have probably been able to do some great things as well. But he was kind of limited on what he can do at the size that he was. But him able to just dunk the basketball was impressive in his sight in itself, especially back in those days. Now it's a lot of 5'6" people, 5'6" people dunking now. Well, not a lot, but there's more to do it now. But Vince Carter, the best dunker in NBA history, in my opinion. I have Jason Richardson number 2. But as always, until next time, I'll see you next time.